ALTBAYS.
Oh, you know the lyrics, Neil.
Yeah, they're really challenging.
It's not that hard, eh? It's not that hard. We're live. ALTBAYS show brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. If you're watching us right now, you are on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. There's a button right at the bottom of the screen where you can see join. And if you join the platform, you can donate some dollars to the platform, and we appreciate dollars because we don't have many. So we appreciate some donations. We are a podcast, so you will find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, all the main podcast platforms. And we're also on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you like the clips, there's the place to be. Make sure to follow us there. We have released this beauty here. If you are listening to us, you cannot see it, but I'll tell you what's happening. We are releasing a new local magazine in the Coromandel called Coromandel. Look at this beautiful cover by Nick Berry, Fangamata artist. Fantastic. It's a beautiful collaborative project, and there's a website with all the articles and also an audio version. Of course, that's what we do. So we managed to get most of the writers reading their own pieces, which makes it very dynamic and very entertaining. And the ones that could not come to the Coromandel, we have the pleasure to have Mr. Fabian Roberts reading the articles. He's got a beautiful voice, and he loves when Taylor does that. So probably he's watching us now, laughing. So make sure to check us out, coromandel.nz. I'm sure you will love what we're putting out there. The Coromandel is a very special place, and we appreciate all the media outlets in the area. We are trying to fill up a gap that is there. Okay, we're doing something different. We're doing something different. Okay? Different is a good word, eh? Because, you know, you don't compromise. I have tonight here with me Mr. Rowan PYNE.
G'day.
Hello.
How's it going?
And Neil PYNE.
Hi. G'day.
How are you, Neil?
Very well.
Summertime.
Yep.
Good vibes.
Yep.
What were you guys up to today? What's happening?
Well, we've got all the family who've come back from some from overseas, some from Auckland, some local. And, you know, so it's the first time the whole family's been together for 10 years maybe. So my daughter teaches in Bangkok, and my son lives and his wife live in Perth. So to get them all back, it's pretty cool.
10 years.
We've had aunties and uncles. And
cousins
still there. Tom's still there.
Yeah.
Wow. Someone always stays there more than they should.
Nah, he's always welcome, old bomber.
Cool, man. 10 years. 10 years.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
haven't put the team together.
Yeah. I mean, we've met up with one or two, 4 years ago we went to UK when Sam and Mel were there. That's my son and his wife. And our daughter met us from...
She's Brazilian, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. There you go. Sorry about that, guys. Brazilian in the family, man.
And our daughter Sharon, she came from Bangkok, met us in London, and we had a great time there. But then the other two boys are at home, so... So it's the first time we all got together.
You guys have done some traveling, eh? Have you made it to South America or not yet?
No.
I have not, unfortunately.
No.
It's a cool place.
It's coming.
Yeah, man. I know.
Hopefully soon, mate. Hopefully I'm...
We've been invited to Brazil, but we haven't gone yet.
Now, I believe it's a better moment. Probably by next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had the elections a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And that lunatic that was in power, it's out. So next year things might change. So it might be a good time to wait and see what's going to happen. The sad thing is that the country ended up quite divided.
Yeah.
Like it was almost 50-50.
Generally happens, doesn't it?
Hey, how upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we have systems that kind of make people go against each other.
I think it's good though, like... it swings and roundabouts, and I mean, I certainly have a certain group of friends that are certain on one side, but it's like I like to hear both both sides in perspective, and like you can't always be right. Like you might be right for a while, but then it might change, and then the other side might be right for a while, or like it's all it's swings and roundabouts, doesn't it? So
that's right.
No point getting too upset about it, eh? So.
Do you guys feel like New Zealand has a bit of that vibe, that sometimes people are quite extremes, but then they listen to each other, or it's not?
Depends who, eh?
Depends who.
Depends who. Each case is a case, eh?
Yeah. We one of the gyms in Auckland that I go to, we have some good political sauna chats, eh?
Oh yeah.
And does you go to your gym and then you go down to the recovery room down there, and there's a spa and a plunge pool and a sauna and a steam room. But yeah, it's quite funny because a lot of the people in the sauna all know each other, and they end up actually like going out for dinner sometimes, just like on a Wednesday they've all gone to the sauna and started having a chat, and oh, should we go get some food? Yeah, all right. So yeah, and there's lots of different nationalities and backgrounds and like trades and professions and stuff in there. It's good. It's
good time to listen.
It's great. Yeah, you learn a lot, hey, in there.
So Rowan, that's your thing, eh? You're really into sports. You try to be.
Yeah, I love it, eh? I'm addicted.
Addicted to sports. Did you get that from Dad?
Dad likes sport, eh? But I
played sport for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mum's side's pretty sporty too, eh? They've had some good swimmers, and
we've always done something.
Yeah.
Sporting wise.
Well, that's why I like all the family being back now. The other day we were down at Matarangi Beach and we were having a game of American football on the beach there with the brothers and cousins and stuff. I love that stuff, eh? So,
do you get to do it as a job? Is it a thing for you? Like, do you take it professionally, or it depends on the time and what's happening?
Yeah, not yet, eh? I have a few different sports that I've sort of really enjoy and cycle through, and just depending on the time of the year or what tournaments or things are coming up, I sort of change my focus. Depending on what's going on. So I have like underwater hockey, which not many people would probably know about, but it's not much of a spectator sport. That's probably why it's quite hard to get funding or make money from, because obviously spectator sports are you need, that's where you get the money from. But it is a great sport to play. Especially, I'm so grateful for having it in my school. That's where you, that's if it wasn't in your school, then that's generally where you find out about it. But like, especially in New Zealand, with how much water there is, it makes you very comfortable in the water, and it's very unnatural because you're trying to hold your breath when you're out of breath. So people will panic, but when you're used to it, then so. Me and Dad were diving today. Well, I was diving. Dad was reading his book on the boat. But but it just makes you very comfortable in the water, and I would definitely recommend it for kids and stuff like that.
Right? Are there specific? Sorry, Neil.
Well, the thing about that too is the underwater hockey is a minor sport, right? So there's a great opportunity, like Rowan has, to represent your country. So not many people can say they've represented their country in a sport, and which he has. And, when they were competing in Europe, was there 14 countries?
I can't remember exactly how many, but
12 or 14 countries, and they won it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
New Zealand's actually the current men's and women's champions at the moment, I think. So
shout out to New Zealand, that team, amazing.
Yeah. No, it's good, but hey, that's the best thing I find about sport is the people you meet. It's the community aspect that is, second to none. It's so cool. Like all the different sports I play, is the people you meet, and you can travel and you can play these sports, and you meet people. Everyone's very welcoming because it's your common ground, So, it's quite big in like Colombia.
Oh yeah,
South America. Yeah, like I think there's some big stuff going on in Canada. But yeah, like Australia, South Africa, Turkey, UK.
Cool.
It's gone quite a bit since
Netherlands, France.
I think France.
South Africa.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the breath, which leads me to think that the preparation and the post practice of the sport, it's something that you praise, that you pay attention to, I would say.
Yeah.
So how much the breathing impacts on the performance of an athlete from your life experience?
Oh, it's pretty funny. I was talking about this the other day with the family. They're talking about it. It's very fitness-based sport. If you're not fit, it's quite hard to make an impact because you're not on the bottom, you know. So you got to be holding your breath when your heart rate's up. So if you're really fit, then you are a very big asset to the team. But I'm a bit older now, so I have to be a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm more of an opportunist these days. I like to start on the sub bench, everyone to get a little bit tired, and then try and make an impact. And if I don't, then get out and let someone else get in. So yeah, no, I like to.
And as a
But when he was at his peak,
yeah,
I'd be diving, and I'd be at 60 feet, right, 20 metres, and he would come down free diving, have a look at my bag, see if I've got anything, shake his head in disappointment, and then just go back up to the top again, all in one breath, just so easy.
Oh, it's quite funny. Was it last year? We went out, and there was the guy Scott, Mad Dog, came out, and he's like, "How deep is it?" And Dad's like, "Oh, it's 20." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, 20 metres. That's all right. I'll be able to go down for a little bit and chill out." Dad's like, "No, 20 foot." He's like, "Oh, 20 foot. Oh, yeah, no worries." But yeah, if it's 20 metres is all right for you, then yeah, 20 foot's no
20
worries.
foot's nothing.
wow. Neil, and for you as someone who's been, how long have you been practicing yoga for, would you say?
Iyengar yoga, 10 years.
10 years.
And before that, I did a bit of Bikram.
So for you, probably the same, like that attention to the breathing puts things together?
Yeah, probably different because you're using your breath to let muscles go and open up. So you're using your breath in a different way. But since in recent times, I've been really working on my breathing. Very important.
Are there specific techniques that you go for, or you just try to be mindful about how?
Oh, in yoga there is, yeah, where you might be breathing out, and then as you breathe in, you stop, or the other way around. You can breathe in, and then you come and you stop, and then you breathe out again, and then you stop. And you do that. So there's lots of different techniques.
To what? Get deeper into a pose, or?
No, that's just if you're doing pranayama breathing. But if you're in a pose, that's the biggest thing for me is be able to stay in a pose in asana for a long time. The older you get, the more time you need, right? So I like to have more time in it, and then I can get further into it by breathing into wherever I'm tight. So you learn to be able to move your breath around your body.
Was there any specific reason why you got into yoga? Or? Yes. Here we go. You ready, Rowan? Sit back, man. Sit back and relax.
How much time have we got?
Well, I was telling you in my bio about all the different jobs I had. And then when I was in Karaoke, I was doing contract work. So that's where you go in with a business and they want you to turn it around. So it's losing money. Can you turn it around? Yeah. So anyway, after being in the corporate world for, 25 years, and then you start doing this as a contract, and then you start going, I'm over this. Because in the corporate world, some of the corporate behaviour in terms of the way they treat people and so on, it's pretty diabolical. So anyway, I was at that stage where I was doing this work, and I was still turning the business around, and it was going well, but I was going, I've got to get out of this. So I was going to yoga 3 times a week. This lady up there, she had a really neat, it was a little church that she transported from Whangarei all the way up there. So her yoga studio was a little church.
Oh, wow.
With beautiful wooden floors and everything. And anyway, I was going 3, sometimes 4 times a week. She said, "Oh, Neil," she said, you're coming quite a lot, aren't you? I said, "Yeah." She said, "Would you like to be a teacher?" I went, that's one thing I could do when I get out of this corporate world.
Wow, great.
So that's how I started. And of course, the other benefit that certainly I started to recognise pretty early on was I love scuba diving. And I'm going, right, if I can keep my flexibility and my strength or whatever, my first goal was still to be scuba diving at 60. Now my goal is still to be scuba diving at 70.
70, yeah, that's good. Is he gonna do it, Rowan? How? Now is the time, man, to be judgmental. Now is the time.
Well,
Live
he
to
was
the whole
going to be
world.
able to.
Going to be able to until I had this little hiccup.
Yeah, until that bloody big C word bloody came into play, mate. But,
So off we go. Now that we brought to the table. So what's the news, Neil? That you had some.
Yeah, so, you know, I stopped teaching yoga because I was really struggling with a hip issue. And then, but I was more than struggling. There was more than just that to it, you know, and I couldn't put my finger on it. But anyway, about just over 2 months ago, I was, you know, always coughing. Anyway, one day, one morning I coughed up blood. I went, uh-oh. So I went to the doctors and they said, yeah, it could be, give you something for an infection, but just be sure we'll get a blood test and go and get an x-ray. Oh yeah, there's a wee bit of shadow on one lung, better go and get a scan. And then you better go and go to the Waikato hospital and they'll do some breath tests and they'll talk to you about the results of your scan. So I go along because pretty, you know, should be right, sort of thing. Feeling pretty, because I've always thought I was fit and healthy. Now I'm just fit. And
are you though?
yeah, oh, he would debate that. But anyway, I went in to see the doctor, and she said, "What do you think you're here for?" And I said, "Oh, you're going to talk about my results, scan results." And she said, "Oh yeah." I said, "I think I'm pretty all right." She said, "Oh well, this lung here, the left one is black. It's really healthy. This one on this side's got a third of it's got white, and that's 98% sure that'll be cancer."
Oh wow, white? Did you say it's white?
Yeah, and I just thought, yeah, you get stunned, you know. I've never smoked in my life, so I thought, me get lung cancer? You're joking. So anyway, you do the research, you find out 20% of people who get cancer have never smoked lung cancer. So anyway, it was a long drive home, as you can imagine. 3 hours.
Could it be something related to humidity or the conditions of the houses? Because I heard about that in New Zealand before. People saying that like the way that the houses are could not be great for our lungs in some.
Don't know.
They couldn't.
In fact, I just went. I don't really care what caused it. You know, it's a bit irrelevant. You know, you got it.
Well, not
so
really, because if you don't know, then you might keep doing the thing and it might come back.
Because I've never been involved with, you know, asbestos or anything like that. So anyway, they said we'll have to do some tests. So go and do the old PET scan where they put the dye in your body, and everybody knows about these sort of things. And then they do a biopsy down into your lungs with a camera and take samples and blah blah blah. Anyway, fortunately, my sister-in-law is with the Cancer Society and she's a nurse, and she said, "Yeah, we better get a second opinion." So she got me in to see top guy in Auckland, and went and had a look, and he said, "Well, we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle yet because we've got to test to find out what type it is. But you know, if we do nothing, you'll be dead in 6 months." Shit. So anyway, I waited. The worst part is the waiting period. People will tell you that you find this out, and then it takes ages for them to do all the tests to find out what you've got. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, he rang me, and he said, of all the cancers, if you're going to get a lung cancer, the one you've got's the one to get.
Wow.
I went, yeah.
What a way to give some news, eh? Cool, okay.
And it's one that they can treat with a direct treatment, a targeted treatment. So I take 4 pills in the morning, 4 pills at night, and that'll reduce it. He said, you've got 3 options. You can do just to take the pills, and it's fully funded, and that will give you 4 to 5 years. But he said, because you're, you know, relatively young and healthy, you can, we could do radiation in 4 to 6 months, and that might give you 7 to 10. We won't cure it, but we'll reduce it right back, and you could have good quality life, 5 to 10 years. unless something else special comes along in the meantime. Which is a hell of a lot better than 5 months, isn't it? Or 6 months.
Absolutely. Rowan told me about the stoic approach to life that he chooses to. Is it something that you relate to? I guess not being skeptical about it, because I have the same feeling. I love reading like Stoics teachings and making sense. It's a big thing, but I always wonder when shit hits the fan if I'm gonna be able to put those teachings into practical. So I wonder with you guys both, because as a son, maybe the fear or the shock could have been even bigger. I don't know. So how was that for you guys?
So with that, for me, I almost see it as a blessing, the whole thing. Like it's like with the Stoic philosophy, it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to it that matters. So I'm stoked that he's going to be around a lot longer, but even if he wasn't, then, you know, instead of sitting there crying about it, I'm going to make the most of the 6 months, you know. So I just thought, you know, what can I do? So that's why I came down here and been trying to help him out with whatever I can, you know, a bit of diet stuff and trying to, you know, like I was like,
get me off the ice cream.
Get him off the ice cream. trying to make his life, you know, less stress. You know, just you can only do what you can do. You know, control what you can control and try not to worry too much about what you can't. So that's sort of it. And like I just said to you before off air, like the memento mori is remember you will die. You know, everyone's going to die. So you know, I thought, okay, well, at least we know he's going to die soon, so at least we can prepare for it, and you can say whatever you want to say, or, you know, it really does put life into perspective. That's why I saw it as a bit of a blessing, you know, like, so there was a friend of mine whose father got taken suddenly, and that was fucking tough. That was really, really sad, and so, like, that's why I see, hey, at least we know now, so you have time, you know, like, you know, a certain amount of time to, if there's something you want to say or something you need to do, or, you know, it really makes you, puts life into perspective, like I said. And, you know, like the other day we were, he wanted us to go help him do some work, and I wanted to go out diving. And, you know, it's like, well, you know, he's like, oh, we need to do it. I was like, do we really need to? Like, you know, like he's said that, you know, one of the favourite things to do is go diving with his sons and stuff. So
absolutely,
you know,
that's
so
my
I was
happy
like,
place.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, do you really? Like, we ended up doing the work, I think, but you know, like that was sort of like, do we really have to? Like, this is what you like to do, so that can wait. But you know, because it's obviously the diving's weather dependent. So,
but Rowan's right. We, you know, it's amazing what happens. So, you know, one of the things I have always said, you know, I'd like to choose my exit. You know, so, you know, which you can do in New Zealand now. If you're going to be terminal within 6 months, you can decide to end your own life if you want to. So I said that to my mate, you know, I said, you know, I've always wanted the idea of being able to choose my own exit. So be careful what you wish for. But when it comes, you go, And so then I was getting prepared and saying, okay, so I've got to get all my things sorted out, make sure, you know, they've done all the legal stuff, got all this sorted out, make sure my wife can get access to all my bank accounts and all that sort of stuff, you know, so you do all that. But, when I saw the lung specialist the first time and he said, we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle yet, I said to him, well, one of them might be that I want to choose the exit. And he said, that's fine, we can talk about that too, anytime. So, you know, my father lived to 97 and he did pretty well up to 95, but the 2 years after that were awful.
Tough, yeah.
And I thought, I don't want to go through that. So I could see it as an opportunity, and it still is for me. So that if, you know, in 5, 7 or whatever, 10 years, my time's up, or I know it's up, then I've still got that option available to me. I don't have to suffer like my parents did.
Is it something that came up? I just want to turn this because you're looking at me, so I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
Is it something that it's happening after the referendum? Is that something that is related to what New Zealand voted for, that you're talking about, choosing your exit?
So you can, euthanasia. You can choose.
So is it like, excuse my ignorance, I don't know if many people would know about that. Is it like a simple thing? The doctor tells you you got a condition and they explain to you like you have these options?
So there's lots of safeguards. But so if you just said, yes, okay, I've got a terminal illness and I'm going to die within the next 5 months, then you can choose the day you want to go. Now, there's doctors that have got to be involved, and there will be some doctors who will do that and others won't, and all those sort of things. But the process is available to you, and so you can actually die with dignity if you wish. If you choose to. And at any time, you might say, well, I want to die on this particular date, and right up to the time you can change your mind. It's interesting, eh?
It's very interesting. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So now not everybody will agree with this, but at least from my point of view, it's nice to know that you can choose your time, that you don't have to suffer, or the people around you don't have to suffer. How many people tell you about, for years and years they've had to, go and see somebody that doesn't know them, for example. Pretty tough.
Yeah. Is it a solo thing, 100% you, or the family has voice? Has a voice?
It's my choice, but I obviously discuss it, especially with my wife. We've had some really good conversations, about what will she do, and she won't get another man, she'll just get a dog.
Well, when we had that dog, when we had that last dog, it was like her 5th child. He got treated better than all of the kids.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, man.
He was a good dog.
Was a good dog.
Yeah, he was cool, yeah.
Lived a good life.
He did, mate.
She's a bit disappointed she can't get a dog yet.
Wow, man. That's full on. But at the same time, as you were saying, you got to make it as just a natural thing, because at the end of the day, it is, right?
Well, a friend of mine who's a yoga teacher in Taupo, Heather, she had her breasts off a couple of years ago, and so I spent some time going down, taking classes for her and whatever. Anyway, she came up to see me, and she said, Neil, the thing you'll find is that people will nearly kill you with kindness. She said, let them. And that's been my experience. It's unbelievable. People have been, like I was talking to my mate in Christchurch, because I had a lung infection on top of this. And I was talking to him, and I said, I don't know if I can make it to Christmas. Well, shit, he was up in 3 days.
I thought he said he was coming up because he didn't believe he had cancer. He just wanted to double check that you were telling the truth.
Yeah, well, he did say it was a bit of attention seeking. And he came and mowed lawns with me. I go to yoga at 9 o'clock on the Tuesday. He said, I'm not going to, even though he's a yogi, he said, I'm not going to. So he went and mowed 3 lawns. And then came down to the cafe afterwards, and I had to introduce this guy all covered in grass. Here's me, mate. Here's me, mate, who's doing the launch while I'm going to yoga.
Wow. And it's one of those things that, like, it's actually a bit cliche, because people say, oh, tell people you love them, like, give them a call. But, like, we need the shake up sometimes, eh?
Yeah, man.
Like, you got to do that stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it takes certain things like this to actually, say that kind of stuff or do that kind of thing, I mean, a little bit off topic here, but, like with all the, like, just, all the humans fighting amongst themselves, it's going to take something like Independence Day where aliens attacking the Earth for everyone to actually unite and, stop that and, stop fighting each other.
The best of people.
Yeah.
Probably the AI thing that now it's so relevant, right? Probably we are already creating this thing that is going to take over, and that might be the thing that might unite us. We'll see, right? Yeah, it's a bit of like a...
But it's incredible how people want to contribute, I mean, I look after a guy's property, and he just said we wanted to have our PET scan sooner than going through the public system because it might help faster. $3,200 worth. He said, I'll pay for it. My son said, I'll pay for it. What? Incredible.
When you said something about supporting with what you could, with like the healthy eating or whatever, like what did you know and what did you go after? like as helpful information that you could add to the?
I mentioned cutting out sugar. I mean, I obviously talked to a few of my friends, and like Dad said, everyone's been affected by it, so everyone has an opinion on it, and everyone has ideas and what they can do. And like, obviously, I mentioned that to Dad, and he's obviously heard that from other people, like Heather, like you say, and stuff like that. I said to Mum, well, what are you making him for dinner? She said, I'm making him this. I was like, no, you're not making him that. You make him something else. So, but just like, and then like I'm a big fan of just health and fitness in general. So like sport, lifting weights, doing anything, but like especially cardio. Like, I mean, it's all cool to lift weights and get big and strong and stuff, but you actually don't get like the high you get from doing like cardio stuff. Like I do like CrossFit stuff, which is weights and cardio, but like after you've done some cardiovascular stuff, you walk out of there feeling $1 million, So like I was trying to get him to come and start doing a little bit of gym work or something with me, like so. Which
I will do.
Yeah, because he used to swim, like when we were in Aussie, and he hadn't been diagnosed yet, but he had that cough. I was thinking, like he's coughing and stuff, like use it or lose it type thing, So I was like, maybe you should get back into swimming or doing something for your cardiovascular health, So, yeah.
Or build some muscle mass.
Yeah.
This is something that we hear quite often, like people saying the best thing you can do for a healthy, like for when you're a senior, for when you're older, is to prepare yourself, to build up, to be strong.
Yeah, I think like lifting weights is, I'm pretty sure it's proven to defy the aging process a little bit, But,
and it's that beautiful thing of going back to basics, what we used to be as human species, like out there in nature, jumping, climbing, fighting stuff, running like crazy. You never know what you were running for. Not eating as much, but every time that you could eat, you would eat a lot and be ready for it. So it makes sense for us to move, right? Yeah. To be active.
It's so fascinating that like you say, like back when we were cavemen, but like how we carry any excess fat or whatever around our midline, and that's like the center of gravity. So that's like the easiest place to carry it. That's like the first place you put on weight. It's the hardest place to get rid of it, but it's the easiest place for you to carry it. It's just it's quite fascinating. That. Quite fascinating.
Rowan, you mentioned first thing when I asked you, you said sugar, the devil. Like getting rid of it or reducing, and of course it fits a purpose, but like it's for most of us. We know how dangerous if it's not a piece of fruit or if it's not something that comes wrapped by nature. We know that sugar can be a tricky one, and probably we are a society that is heavily reliant on those substances, like caffeine and sugar. Do you guys have would you say that you have an addictive personality for some stuff? Let's go jump there. Oh, did you like it?
Segue. Yeah, of course, man. Like, I mean, I'm definitely a sweet tooth.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
It's
Me too.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad telling Dad he's not allowed to eat that. You're not allowed that. Give me that. So I'll eat it.
While he's munching on chocolate.
Yeah, but no, it's probably not a bad thing to try and cut out or cut down. I mean, it's when it, like you said, it does serve a purpose because it gets into your bloodstream so quickly. So like if we're doing CrossFit comps or underwater hockey or touch or whatever, that you're burning it off really quickly, then that we are during an underwater hockey tournament, we have lots of lollies and chocolate and just stuff that gets into you real quickly, and because you burn it off straight away. So like it does have a purpose, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, like a lot of people eat out of boredom. You're sitting there like, what snacks have we got? Yeah,
especially when you have access to the world of possibilities, right? It's like what a time for us to be alive, that you can eat anything at any time.
Yeah.
Whatever, like anything.
I think the more active you are, the less you crave that, especially working, like when I go out mowing lawns or trimming hedges or fixing stuff or whatever. I don't feel like eating. Makes a big difference.
Have you had anything in your life that you would say, oh, I was actually a bit like apart from sugar, alcohol? You said that you never smoked.
No.
He loves his ice cream.
The ice cream, man.
I drank a fair bit of alcohol all the time.
But not to the point of becoming...
No.
Nah.
No. I probably was addicted to running at one stage.
Oh.
So when I finished playing rugby, I just used to go running. Because it's the easiest thing to do, eh? You come home from work, you've been in an office all day, you just come home, put the running shoes on and go. And then we got into running half marathons. There's a group of us, we'd run 3 half marathons a year. And it became quite social as well. But, you know, if I hadn't been for a run for a day or two, man, get all twitchy. Yeah.
Can we be addicted to anything, Rowan, you reckon?
I think, yeah. I mean, in a way, we are all addicts. You might be addicted to podcasting.
I get the shakes if I don't do
or
it.
something you're passionate about. I mean, you can call it different things, I guess. But yeah. I've definitely been addicted to lots of things over my time: like alcohol, drugs, exercise, diving, whatever. You know, just. But yeah, I guess it's just. Like the analogy I was using with you earlier was, you know, with addicts or whatever, it's you have like 7 jars, but you only have 6 lids. So there's always sort of something that you don't quite have a lid on, if you know what I mean. Like you're not quite on top of. So
it's called being human, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But so there's you know, there can be good addictions and bad addictions. You know, so I
Positive
mean,
ones.
yeah. So like I said to you in the bio about a good piece of advice my old man gave me was make other people's lives better. So get addicted to doing that, you know, so which is something that I am trying to do on another sort of side thing going on, which is to do with podcasting, but it's to do with health and fitness. And
but even when you're focusing on making other people happy, you got to make sure that you're making yourself happy.
Well,
right?
exactly. There is definitely selfish and selfless reasons for doing that kind of thing, but like I've sort of found something that I enjoy, I love, I'm passionate about, but as an alternative, it's helping other people as well. So, you know, that's and I often ask people, if money wasn't an issue or you had 10 billion in the bank, what would you be doing with your life? And I would still be doing that thing. I would still be like, I'm a plumber and that's how I'm earning my money, but I've got this other project that I'm working on, and if money wasn't an issue, I would still be doing that because I love yarning to people, I love exercising, I love all that stuff. So I'll just be traveling around the world doing that. And you know, like, because everyone feels good when they, you know, you get good feelings when you make someone else's day, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, it can be looked as being selfish or selfless, whatever way you want to look at it. It has both reasons, you know, because you're obviously doing it to make yourself feel good, because that's, at the end of the day, why we do things, is how it makes you feel. But if you're making someone else happy as well, then, you know, that's a beautiful thing.
It is about the collective at the end of the day, right? Like we wouldn't be here if it was not the collective, you know, like humans getting together and making things happen.
Well, that was what Rowan was talking about there. That was from a guy called Nigel Latta, who's done the politically incorrect parenting and whatever in New Zealand. He's really interesting. He did a speech at the Certified Builders Conference, and he had a big sign up saying how to be how to be a successful builder. And he said, I just change it. You know, if I'm talking to nurses, how to be a successful nurse, how to be whatever, just, you know. And he said 4 things, and I've never forgotten it. He said, 1, you got to have a plan. 2, he said, you got to stick to your plan. Don't let people talk you out of it, but don't be a wanker about it either. And then 3, plan for the down times, emotionally and financially, because they come. And 3, he said, golden rule, make other people's lives better. And I went, wow.
Well, it would be a great place if everyone had that philosophy.
Wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Oh, much better. Yeah. Yes.
So that's what's driven me since.
And there's something there that connects with the expectation, right? Because if you're giving, if you're doing, like, you're not expecting anything. You're doing it, right? You're doing your part.
So it's just little things. You don't have to do massive things. It's just little things. You know? When
you said, Rowan, that you had something with alcohol and drugs, like Was there an agreement that you came up with yourself, like something of like, because I see people dealing with their vices in different ways. So for example, I was never addicted to alcohol, was never a big problem, but there was a time that I was drinking quite a lot, and then I realized that I was not making any progress with it. So it was me looking at a situation and understanding that there's actually not a huge problem, but there was actually no benefit from it. So in my perspective, it was like, I'm gonna step back, but I'm not gonna demonize this. I'm not gonna say that I'm never gonna do it anymore. However, a lot of people who have issues with, because we know that the substances can be quite harsh, they prefer to not even touch it. If there's a party, I prefer not even going.
Yeah, that's I think like it's like a very Kiwi culture, especially when we were younger, to, you know, you just live for the weekends to get on the booze with your mates. But it came a point in my life where I'm like, fuck, you know, there's got to be better ways to bond with people other than just getting on the piss or getting wasted. I still enjoy that, and I enjoy it more now because I do less of it. So, you know, less is more. So, like, it's more meaningful the less you do it, like, you know, if you're not just doing it every week for the sake of it, because that's, you know, then if you do it less and for special occasions, then I don't feel guilty about it at all, you know, like, because it got to the time when you start feeling guilty about wasting your life in the day, and, you know, because you're in bed hungover all the time or coming down or whatever, you know. But yeah, I found, so I do it. Now, like I was saying to you the other day when I saw you out, I was working down here, and we were having like a work do, and I was planning on just having a couple of drinks and then having a meal and then driving back to Auckland because I had training in the morning, and that sort of went out the window. I ended up drinking at 4 a.m. at the boss's place, but it was a cool night, like I don't regret that at all. It was awesome, you know. So
and for someone who is into sports like you are, it makes much more sense to avoid those nights like in a row, you know, like you don't want to do that 3 times a week. It's not going to work.
No. You see, and that the sport is actually what I discovered is a better, I prefer that as a bonding exercise rather than boozing. So I like to, so when we were living up in Karaoke and I'd come back to Auckland, a few of our mates, instead of getting on the piss, be like, oh, let's go do a F45 or let's go to a CrossFit class or something like that. Would go do that, and then would go have a breakfast or have a meal afterwards, you know. And that just became like, that's how I like to bond with people, is doing a workout or something like that. It's like it's a bonding exercise. And there was a few years ago, like there was like a group of mates that they loved to party, and but we did this Great Lake Taupo relay one year. So it's like a relay around Lake Taupo. It's 156 Ks. There was 14 of us, and it starts at like 2 a.m. and you run legs each. But, you know, like a lot of them were boozers, a lot of them were like, some of them were a bit more serious. So we had an Olympian in our team. We made him do a few extra legs, but like, so like it was quite funny though, because we had 2 vans. There was like the van that started at 2 a.m. They were a bit more serious. I was in that one with a couple of other guys, and we did 2 or 3 legs each. And then there was the other van with the guys that had been on the booze the night before. So like we got up early and started at 2 a.m. and we drove around this way, and then sort of halfway through the day we met up with the other van and they started doing their legs in the other half of the day. But at the end of the day, we ended up, you know, having a few drinks and celebrating that. So I really like, that's why I like tournaments and stuff like that. You know, you get both sides of it. You get to do the sport, the community, the vibe, that sort of stuff, and then you get to celebrate and have a party afterwards, and you feel like you've earned it, you know? Like it's that's sort of why I play sport and stuff.
Same with yoga. That's what we go at 7 o'clock in the morning. You get up, go to yoga 8:30. You finish, and what do you want to do? Go and have a coffee. And it's social.
Yes,
you know, and you can go anywhere in New Zealand to an iyengar class, and you know it's a community.
Because
all around the country,
the energy is there. Yeah, right. You did the collective, you did the thing with the group, and you're stretching that. You
did the work, and now you can have a coffee.
And it's a lot easier to talk and make conversations with people you don't know, because you've just done that sort of that bonding.
Yeah, so you got a
If I've-
common
you've been,
link.
you've been in the like especially with I do lots of like CrossFit comps and stuff when I can, and like it's so cool. There's the discipline games one, which is put on by these guys. They started doing them sort of nationwide, but like because CrossFit was sort of like, it had sort of like a bad stigma around it being as quite like elitist and, you know, a cult and all this sort of stuff. But this guy started, DG, started putting on these discipline games and they're just so inclusive. And like you go there, everyone's on a really good buzz. Everyone's working out, doing it. Doesn't matter if you win or you lose. Some people are more competitive than others and looking to win, but like you're competing against yourself. Everyone is on a good vibe and a good buzz, you know, like throughout the day you have a bit of banter with the people in the lanes next to you, and you like, cause you do like maybe 5 or 6 workouts throughout the day, but like you have the CrossFit gyms and stuff and like the sort of RX and the intermediate masters division. Then you have like all the other gyms like F45s and BFTs and like that aren't so CrossFit-y, doing like novice and beginners, and it's just like, you know, it's and I like team sports, so like I'm doing it as a team and stuff. But
it sounds like more playing.
It is
Fun.
It is fun. It's real fun, and I think that's the really good thing about group fitness is people go there to see their mates. You know, like gyms can be really daunting places to some people, but if you find one that you like and people you like, then you go there, you want to go there and see your mates, and then the workout's just a byproduct of that, you know, like it's, and I think everyone should, you know, try and do some form of exercise or whatever, but that's the good thing about there being so many gyms and activities, and or even just join a sports team or do something that, you know, it's, and it's a good way to meet people, especially when you move to a new town. Like,
get your ass off the couch and go have a workout.
Yeah,
God damn it.
there's some you meet
people.
some really cool people, so yeah, that's and all shapes, sizes, ages, you know, it's pretty cool. So
Especially here, man. There's such a great range of people.
yeah, I've started doing the jiu-jitsu down there.
Oh, yeah,
that's pretty
cool.
I know you've had a few members of that
Yep,
gym
yep.
on here, and I started playing touch. They've got a touch comp here, so I've been here couple of months and started joining in on that.
Oh,
and
it's
then,
good on you, man.
Yeah, so it's great.
Neil, we were talking about the fun elements, the play, and how, in my view, like, I think the best we can, like the more we can, if we can apply that to all aspects of life, you know, like if you can, like some things we have to do it, like some obligations, we have to go through them.
Yeah.
Wow, if you can find the opportunity to have fun and play while you're doing those, score. Is there any chance to have fun in a corporate life?
Yes, there was. I mean, I was really lucky when I first started. I actually worked for a private company, so it was a family owned, and we did lots of social stuff. It was really good, you know. And we had the drinks on a Friday night, and that's, you know, was really good because people told you what they really thought and whatever, so it was good. But now, you know, these days, you know, you're not at, you know, these big companies, they would say, oh, you can't even have drinks after work, you know, because people won't, you know, might go home and, you know, have an accident on the way home. Well, the thing is, people are actually responsible. Yeah, we used to have drinks after work when they said we couldn't, but everybody, you know, nobody had more than 2 drinks. And if they had more than 2 drinks, then they got a lift home or they got an Uber or taxi or whatever. People are responsible. You know, if you treat them like adults, they'll act like them. You know?
Yeah. Was it something like that was driving you? Was something that like you felt it was fitting a purpose for you to be doing those jobs? Because like you hear quite often people saying, oh, on your 20s you gotta experience life, and on your 30s you get shit done, and then you start to work hard. So like when it's coming to like your 40s or so, like you already have something sorted by the time. But like it doesn't sound like a rule, especially in a world like the one that we live nowadays. Like you
well,
never.
We were married young. I was married at 21, Louise was 20, but we didn't have kids till I was 29. So we travelled, you know, I started off my career as a teacher, primary school teacher, And those days you got paid to go to teachers' college, so you didn't have a student loan at the end, and you were bonded to 3 years, so you had a guaranteed job for 3 years. And then we took off and travelled for 3 years. You know. So we had a good time when we were young. But what drives you when you get back is you have a kid, and then you have another one, and then you have another one, and you think, man, I've got some responsibility here. I better get going, and get to the stage where I can produce a reasonable income. And that's what drove me. Was okay, well, my old man gave me a great life. And I'm going, well, if he can do it, after leaving school at 14, then I'd got a lot more opportunity than he did. So, right, get on with it. So I just, got into it and learned as much as I could and ended up doing so many different jobs, within the same organisation. It was fantastic. I just got stimulated.
It's like you asked if it's good in the corporate world. Definitely. It's definitely good in the corporate. Like you said, there's lots of opportunities. You did lots of courses. You did whatever you could. It's just your perspective on it. It's like you can make the most of it, or you can.
But it was. I still think that was still had that family thing. That the families owned it, and they were very keen. If somebody wanted to further themselves, they'd say, "We'll pay for the course. We'll pay for the course." So I took those opportunities. It was great.
You got to empower people, right?
Yeah.
You gotta get the best out of them. That makes sense.
So you do that, and then you also try and make it fun when you come to work. And the big thing is about acknowledging people for their contributions, and also, and I think I've got a real thing about this, is that you go into a corporate now, and they're all about you're not allowed to make mistakes. People are not allowed to make mistakes. And I go, you got to be bloody joking, mate. That's how people learn. We learn more from our mistakes than we ever make from our successes. And if the mistake doesn't mean the business doesn't go under, then you learn from it and get on with it. And I had a good example of that when I first started. That was my philosophy, and then I got tested when I first started as a branch manager. And we ordered some stainless steel for a guy to make big silos out of stainless. Anyway, we ordered it, and I forgot, or the guy and I that ordered it, we forgot to put the tensile strength at the top end on it. So guess what happened? 10 tons of this stuff comes, so like it's a big order, and he goes to use it and he can't bend it.
Shit.
So the guy who was part of the team that ordered it, he was specialist in that stainless steel side of the business. I was the boss. He thought he was going to get fired because he'd made that mistake, because it was big money. I said to him, no, let's think about this. So we went and saw the guy that we'd bought it for, and he was a really neat guy. And he said, I'll be able to use it. I'll be able to make other things out of it. It just will take longer. So we did that, and we managed to get rid of it. Instead of him using it and using it all in 4 months, it took 4 years.
But it was there in store. It was safe.
But, it didn't break us. And I think when people make a stuff up like that and they don't get crucified for it, then you get real loyalty, man. Because they go, that boss is not going to throw me under the bus.
This is a good stock quote. Circumstances don't make the man; they only reveal himself to him.
Yeah,
and you reveal him to himself.
Yeah.
So shit happens. It's how you deal with it.
How you deal with it. Yes.
How you respond to it. Yeah.
And the reaction, right? Like how? Because we're so prompt for the reaction, right? Don't even think about it. You just say so. Go, calm down, breathe, look at the big picture, right?
Whereas the big boys, they don't do that. Like this is a big company that I was contracting to, and their philosophy was just fire people. I was there for 2.5 years and had 4 area managers. They're just like a revolving door. Ridiculous. How can you get any continuity or understanding or whatever business when people are going in and out of it like that? Nothing. Whereas in the old business I was in, people were there for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They were experienced.
Yes.
I guess you got to have a environment that people enjoy, like you say, making it fun and stuff. Like I'm working down here and I'm really enjoying it. Like I haven't always enjoyed my work, but I certainly am down here. It's a good crew.
It makes more sense, right?
There's something special about being on the Coromandel too, mate. The Coromandel's a pretty amazing
right?
place to be, eh?
Yeah.
I always said, like, I'd love to do 50-50 in Auckland and the Coromandel, you know. Like, 'cause
Keep manifesting, brother. Say it again.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, well, it is, like...
Let's run your podcast here, bro.
The thing is, like, I would like to. I could do a couple, but, yeah, like... Yeah, I've got to be mobile away. That's why I'm looking around all this stuff.
Definitely.
I'm like, fuck. But like when I first heard about the dad thing, you know, I just came down here, and I've got to be work at 7:15. But you know, I'll get up really early, watch the sunrise, go to the gym, go for a swim in the ocean, go back, shower, and I'm at work by 7:15. And people are like, "Oh, you're fucking mad," and I'm like, "Well." It's actually a privilege to be able to do that kind of stuff, eh? Like, I'm living on the Coromandel, you know, make the most of that.
And you made the day already in a way, right? You already won the day in the first 2 hours of being awake.
What he forgot to tell you was that when Louise and I wake up, the first one that wakes up or whatever, usually, it's got to go down and make a cup of tea. And then we go back up and have our cup of tea in bed because we look out. Beautiful view from there. Well, since Rowan's been there, we go down to make a cup of tea and we've got 2 smoothies there ready that we already made for us.
Yeah.
That he's made before he's gone to work. Pretty cool, eh?
It's cool, yeah, man.
That's why it's okay for him to live with us.
That's okay.
Yeah, well, like, you got to, it's about adding value to people's lives, eh?
Absolutely.
Just little things. Just little things.
They add up.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We take it for granted. We take the little things for granted because they're little. But when you get a bunch of little things, you have this collection of beautiful moments and they make up to...
And if you couldn't do that, then you would long for that kind of stuff, eh? Like,
that's right.
If someone said you're not allowed to swim in the ocean anymore, you'd want to go swim in the ocean, you know? Like, you take it for granted. Like, it was, it's pretty amazing. Like,
man, I wanted to ask you something that your father said, like, briefly, because he was telling a story, but I found it like, that there's something that you mentioned having a lot of fun, but then having children, and then feeling like now is time. I have to focus on this.
Get my shit together.
Get my shit together. Different times though, right? Like a few years ago. Rowan, how does it feel for you? Like nowadays, like when you look at your friends, the people around you, and your own experience with this idea. Like I don't like the question, you want to have kids? Because I think that's damn. But like things are changing. I was reading that New Zealand, I think in 2 years we'll have the lowest numbers of kids enrolled in primary school.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know where they're getting those numbers from because the Coromandel is full of 3 children family. But I guess I know what they mean. Like when you see the whole thing and there's a prospect, like they're looking ahead, and it is dropping the numbers of children. And how is that relationship for you as someone who got young friends and all? Like
most of my friends are married with kids, eh? But I'm sort of doing things a little bit differently. I'm not opposed to that. Like, you know, I love kids, but yeah, it just hasn't happened for me that way yet. I guess I think subconsciously there's some other things going on that maybe have prevented me from doing that path, which I see as a bit of a blessing now because I feel like I've found a bit of a purpose that isn't kids, but I am still open, and I think if I did have kids, then I, you know, would obviously focus on that and really enjoy that. But if I don't, then I give my love and attention and stuff to my friends' kids, you know, I've got.
I relate to that, man. I think my journey it's quite similar. I would never oppose the idea. You know, it's just something that it makes sense as humans to reproduce. That's why we're here for. You know, like to keep things going. But I also see people not knowing how to deal with their own things and not having a big purpose in life and being a bit lost. So having a child becomes this thing that will solve all the problems. Oh, I'm a parent.
Tell him that straight away.
Listen to Neil. Listen.
Can I ask you why do you podcast? What is it? Is this your passion? Like what got you into podcasting? Why do you love doing this sort of stuff? Like,
man, I love people the social aspect that we were talking about before, like I find so much beauty in putting people together. I think like I love that idea of like nowadays we have names in history that were very important people. Like you can think about a person that was very important and relevant, but like when you keep going back, there were groups that were thriving and they made who we are.
Stoics.
The Stoics, you know, like groups, you know, like so the collective for me, it's very important. And what I'm understanding, because I've been operating on a second language for so long, that like a lot of other cues help me. So sometimes it's not just about the talking. Right. It's about reading people, you know, like and seeing how they behave. So I make much more sense out of that. So talking becomes a good way to let people comfortable, because when you relax, when you give a space for people to talk, you're building trust. You know, like so that's how I see the whole thing. I'm like, well, podcast gives this opportunity, like, but most people like to talk when they are running podcasts. And I'm the opposite. Like I like to listen to people's stories when I'm doing my podcasts. Yeah. You know, like a lot of friends, they come to me like, and I feel quite honored. They're like, man, you say some cool things. Why don't you say more? And I'm like, oh, very nice of you. But like, I'm there for something else. You know, like it's a space for people to tell me their stories. And that helps me to deal with like my life. You know, like when I have something important to do or to get in touch with someone, like it gets much better. Like I find ways to approach humans differently now that I'm a better listener, I guess. So it's just a cool way to keep myself active and learning more. Yeah.
I mean, you definitely have like a persona about you that like quite a comforting persona, you know, like obviously, you know, that's what you do is you make people feel comfortable so that they'll talk to you, you know. So I heard that before, and that's cool, and I feel like it's something that comes probably from my parents. They worked with hospitality for years, like for 25 years. Like they had a function menu, and like doing these birthday parties were like the bread and butter, and like it was bringing money to the table. So like they always had this thing of like, gotta make people happy. You know, like, oh, what you guys are saying, like, is the story of my life. You know, like, is there anything more important than a birthday or a wedding for a person? Like, man, you gotta treat that with so much care. You know, like, so that was my parents. Like, they were making sure that people were having fun, that people were happy. So they would listen. They would make like the best day of their lives. So for me, it makes sense. Like, you treat people well and you let them talk, like you will probably get something good out of that. And if you don't, even better, so you know. Get them out of your life. Don't even deal with it. Man, Neil, I'll tell you what, man, this that you guys are part of now and the magazine is the best teacher ever. Because a lot of people, they like to say stuff, but when it comes to action, you know, like nothing. And then you know, and I'm grateful. At the start, I was always complaining with Taylor. I'm like, man, did you feel the same? Like that they were coming to support and be part of it, and now nothing. And he's like, good. Now we know.
Because you know what you're dealing with.
Now you know. Don't even bother next. I'm like, true. It's a much better way to approach life. You know, like what are you getting? It's what it's meant to be. So even with a no, I love no's nowadays because the person bothered saying no. Like sometimes we leave people waiting, you know, and like someone comes to you, no, thank you. You're like, oh, cool. You're welcome. Next, you know, like, so all these experiences of dealing with people, like, it's just teaching.
It's like that where they're talking about trying to have, you know, hate speech and ban hate speech or whatever. I said, man, let people say what they think because then you know what you're dealing with. If it goes underground, you don't know what you're dealing with.
That's right.
And also, you know, it's like you were saying, if you spend time and get people to tell you their story, now and again you'll get some friggin' gems.
Yeah, man. Like tonight.
Can I tell you one? I was volunteered at the hospice when I was in South Auckland, and the how do you got in to talk to people who were you know, on their deathbed sort of thing was you had to go and clean the toilets and whatever. And so not many guys did that. But anyway, I went and did it. And one guy stood out for me. I went there, and anyway, we started talking, and I find out that he was an aircraft engineer, and after the Second World War, he was the guy that was working on the first jets, and fascinating. And then he came to New Zealand and worked for NAC, and then in New Zealand, whatever. What an amazing life. But you don't know, eh?
You don't know.
Until you just ask people, hey, what'd you get up to before you come in here,
Yes. And I feel like the sports help a lot with that, because you can easily get into those vulnerable moments of like, man, can I do this? And then someone come, yeah, man, you can, let's do it. Let's do it together. I'm here for you. And then you're like, whoa, cool. I'm not alone, so I feel like all these things that bring us the mental health, like the physical health that you were talking about. Oh, it's so empowering.
It is like, and the thing with group fitness is you sort of, that's why I like team sports, because it's quite easy to, like, if you're going to the gym in the morning, it's easy to cancel on yourself. But if you're meeting someone there, it's a lot harder. You can't let someone else down. You let yourself down, but it's a lot harder to let someone else down. And I find when there's other people around, or you're in a CrossFit in a team, or underwater hockey or whatever, touch, rugby, you will push harder for the team, for the collective. So I really like that. What so can I ask you another question?
Yeah, please.
If you had, who would be the three guests, if you could choose anyone to come on your podcast? Ooh. Who would be
Neo PYNE.
Yeah.
No, you mentioned someone earlier that was on Joe Rogan's one. Would he be one of them?
Lex Fridman is a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the way that he prepares for what he does. It's completely different from my approach to podcasts. Like I as you guys know, I ask for some bullet points, a little bio, but that's much more for the show description than actually for myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I'm comfortable with asking questions and seeing where it's going, but I know that soon we're going to start bringing more, I don't know if that's the word, but like relevant people who are out there in the media. So it makes sense that I know who they are. Mm-hmm. So then I would prepare a little bit more. Right. But I love the chat format, and Lex Fridman, it's very different. Like, he's got all these notes. He broke down the guy's life, and he knows exactly where he's going with his questions. And I appreciate that. Like it's something that maybe I could do. I don't know if he would be on my top 3. I don't know. I'm just thinking now. I think I would love to talk to. Can it be someone who is dead?
It can be. Yeah. Yes, it can be someone.
I think George Harrison would be a very interesting guy.
Oh yeah.
To talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for all the experiences that he had. Like with psychedelics, traveling fame, being a star, and being down and almost like getting killed and coming back to. I always found his life story quite interesting. Someone in New Zealand, I think Peter Jackson would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
To have on the show.
Yeah. Cool.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For sure. And I don't know, man.
You can get just as interesting people living here, like Peter Johnson.
Yeah. Oh man, we had amazing people so far. Like that's something that really makes me like so. Like gives me a lot of energy to carry on, like
I mean, like you don't know what you don't know, so like there's lots of people you don't know their stories, and they come on and then they surprise you and stuff. But I'm sure there is some people that you do know and you would love to have you on with, or even if not come on the podcast, who if you had round for dinner or whatever, who'd be sitting around at your table,
But man,
who could you?
I'll tell you what, I think I don't know if I would put a name on the third one, but what I really want to do, I want to talk to someone that I disagree like probably 100%.
Right.
I would love to, like, just not the person, but like someone like Trump, someone like a leader of the Ku Klux Klan, like someone on that level, because the thing is, we're all humans. That something happened in your life that made you who you are, and if you are bad to other people, it doesn't mean that you cannot go back and fix it, you know, like, and there's he used to be a musician for like Motown in the 70s. I always forget his name. I should know because I mentioned him so many times. And that's his thing. He goes and talks to people and he's a black dude who hates black people, you know, like who is completely against what he does. But that's the thing, like he finds the middle ground. He finds the things that we have in common as humans, and he goes from there.
That's cool.
And suddenly he's building a relationship there, and he had people leaving like the hate groups that they were part of, you know, like, and that wouldn't be my mission. I wouldn't do that to get someone out of, because who am I? You know, I'm just a guy. I'm not. Yeah. But I find, especially because people sometimes give me shit for bringing some people in the show.
Yeah.
Like we had this porn actor in the show.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, why are you doing that? I'm like, what are you scared of? You know, like his cock or whatever. Well, like he's coming with clothes. Like it's all good. You know, like if you don't know the guy, like what's the problem with listening to a story? Oh, but he can become an influence. And I'm like, well, then it's up to us to see where we're going to take the conversation. If I'm agreeing with everything that he says, maybe yes, maybe I'm doing a bad job. But if he says something that I disagree with, and I say it, I say, oh, I don't see it. Like you did right at the start. You're like, oh, I think it's good that we think differently. Boom, you know, like that's it. You put your point of view on the table, and that's it. You know, I'm not giving a platform to people. We're having a conversation, and that's all. So I think we'll get there, because New Zealand has a lot of people that I don't agree with. So we'll get there.
And the good thing about him, though, is just, even if you don't agree with what he's doing, at least you know what's going on. And right? And then, you know, if you wanted to do something about it, maybe. But just knowing that there's a whole lot going on around, you know.
And I'll tell you what, such a cool guy. You know, like even I don't agree with the practices, like the way that he conducts his business or whatever, and came here, you know, like, right? You know, like, so a lot of conversations around that. But like the person coming here, you know, like, oh yeah, cool, having a chat, man. Thanks for the opportunity, man. Can I share the thing? Cool, thank you. You are human. Like you can actually have a conversation. So,
well, everyone has good points and bad points, eh? If you want to focus on people's bad points, then, you know, or you can focus on their good points. You know, it's everyone has good points. And if I can't remember where it came from, but, you know, you can be sitting in a room in a bar or something, you can look around and you can see like 100 things that piss you off, eh? Or like, and you can focus on those, and then you're going to be angry or pissed off all the time. Or if you look for the positive things, and there's, you know, then you can, you know, be happy or you know.
Man, stay in Whitianga for 8 years or more and go to a bar in the off season, and you will find a lot of things to hate, brother.
I mean, I saw you there. The man loves a mic, eh? Like, I saw you at the bar the other week, mate, up doing their karaoke. That was quite good, eh? Do people know you do that, or?
Yeah. I don't have a problem with like singing or anything, because and that's another thing. Just like I respect you so much, Neil, for coming and saying, I don't mind talking about what's happening to my life right now, because I know that it will help a lot of people. That's how I see my singing. Like, I'm not a pro. I'm not like a singer, someone who studied singing for years, but like, I find it liberating.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel good. You know, I scream and I feel great. Like sometimes I finish the show here on Fridays and I go straight to karaoke and I stay for 15 minutes just to sing a couple of songs and then I go to bed.
Does it scare you? Did it scare you? Was it like something that getting outside your comfort zone, or you seem pretty comfortable now, obviously?
Yeah, now. But like when I started, because I was always playing the drums, and I was like, I wanna support the singers in the bands that I was part of, and then I was like, I can.
So did you start doing backing vocals?
Yes, and all that stuff. But then in Whitianga, like speaking English every day, I was like, man, I should give it a go, eh? Like so that was challenging. That was something like, be at the front, singing that was like, oh, and then I love it. Like most of the things in life, right? The challenges, the things that we fear, suddenly they become the coolest thing to do, right?
Yeah.
So, do you sing?
Oh, I love singing, but I mean, maybe after
After-
many
after-
drinks, I might get up there. But yeah, I think we used to go to a karaoke bar in East Auckland often on a Thursday after the pub.
Oh, you asked my top 3, so let's go. Top 3 songs, Rowan karaoke night, so your friends can know next time and
Well,
set you up.
no, I definitely couldn't pick 3, but the other night when I saw you, whoever was singing that Blink-182 song got the crowd going. I think I ended up jumping up on stage and jumping behind him, actually. But that was pretty cool. I'm a big Elton John fan, eh? Yeah.
Coming back to New Zealand, did you see that?
Well,
for the
because we're
farewell
supposed to go
tour?
to his last tour, but he got sick and we didn't get to go. So, yeah, I'll definitely jump in on that, eh?
Yes.
He's still doing it, eh? You know,
Still
like
doing it.
he's
Oh,
still doing
man.
it, still hits, and you know, it's good to see, eh?
One more.
Is that
You
straight?
said 2, you said Blink-182, Elton John, one more, and then it's you next, man. So
That's a toughie, eh? Can you think of any of yours, or
you're a singer, Neil? Do you go for a...
he rates himself?
Yeah?
I sing and they tell me to shut up.
That's not true. That's not true.
Now we know where that cancer is coming from. All this denial.
Yeah, now I can't sing because I can't breathe properly.
What are your picks, Neil? The favorite top Neil top 3.
I like to make up my own lyrics to songs.
Hey,
You know, like,
oh cool.
He started trying to learn the guitar, actually.
yeah, I just started.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it going well?
Well, my goal was to be able to sing a couple of songs of my own, like you know, the one like John Denver's Almost Heaven, West Virginia. We do Almost Heaven, West Kuaotunu, Blue Fridge Brewery, California. So make up songs like that. Yeah.
Cool, man. We'll bring you on stage,
So
man.
she's
I
going
remember
to
that.
get me to do the chords and then put those words in, and then I'll see how we go.
Ah, fantastic.
Bit of fun.
That's cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are the projects for 2023? What's happening, Rowan? Is it Auckland? Is it Coromandel? Is it half-half?
It's 60-40 Coromandel, I think. Hey.
Cool. So I can bring you back to
70-30.
go.
Oh, sure,
So
man.
I can bring you back, co-host some shows with me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like, yeah, I'm like, people rag on Auckland. I still love Auckland. I've got lots of friends there and lots of activities that I like to do. I'm sure good points and bad points, you know, traffic. But the way I sometimes catch myself getting agitated in traffic, but then I remember my stoic philosophy and I'll ring someone that I haven't spoke to for a while. I'll put on a good podcast. I'll put on some music and just enjoy sitting in the traffic, you know.
Yes.
It's just, yeah. So,
Auckland's still a good town. I just don't want to live there anymore.
yeah.
Hey.
Oh, mate, there is something special about being down here, eh? Like, I find it a lot easier to get up very early and seize the day, driving next to the ocean in the morning, or, you know, we're working all around the Coromandel, and like, I don't know, it's just really enjoyable. But then it's like the yin and the yang, you know, like one makes you appreciate the other. So
Yeah, it does.
I enjoy going back to Auckland and seeing my friends and playing all my sports and that kind of stuff, eh? So yeah, I'm planning on doing like 2 weeks working down here and then do a week up there and then come back, and yeah, so getting the best of both worlds, eh?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
For
the
the
biggest
foreseeable
challenge
future.
is getting out of your head and looking around you again. You know, like when we get out in the morning, our view is stunning. But sometimes you realise, you think you're in your head, you don't actually look out the window.
Yeah.
You know? You've got to keep reminding yourself.
It's like
Yeah. Go down and go and have a swim.
the first, yeah, exactly. Like the first lockdown, COVID,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
stuck down here, and it was awesome. But you know, like we weren't allowed to take the boat out or anything like that. But we, you know, me and Dad ended up going and doing shore dives and stuff, and we found some amazing dive spots, just that we wouldn't normally do because we'd always take the boat out and we'd go far.
That we've just gone over the top of.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, it was, yeah, and it was
So we've
pretty
had
cool.
3 diving expeditions in the last few days, and I've used 20 litres of fuel
Oh.
instead of 80 or 90 or 100 litres of fuel.
But yeah, we are going out to the island tomorrow, aren't we?
Yeah.
To,
Yeah. do the tourist thing.
Yeah, go to some beaches over there and maybe do some stuff. So,
Cool,
yeah,
man.
It's been pretty cool the weather the last few days down here, isn't it? So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Are there recommendations regarding being active for you at the moment? Like, because you were doing the lawns, right? That was your thing.
Yeah, still doing that.
Still doing that?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Had a lot of help recently. My brother came up from Christchurch as well and did 3 days with me, and he decided that after doing a bit of physical work like that, because he's an office wally, that his not having a beer on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday was going to go out the window. Because when you've done some physical work, you feel like a beer afterwards.
Yes.
You feel like
So
you
that's
earned it.
good. And then Rowan's been helping me, and so is George, and bloody good. But I can still do it. And as it's starting to come right again,
It's amazing. Just after started taking some of the pills, and I've noticed like he's not coughing as much anymore. It's amazing the effect that it's had, Like
Yes.
technology, So.
And that's an interesting thing, right? Because we were talking before about how some industries they feed each other. So like bad eating habits are always going to be there because you get people sick. But like we cannot forget the beauty of having an advanced medicine, right? Like wow,
we are so fortunate.
But then, in saying that, there's also, a lot of preventative stuff that you could or should be doing too. Like sure, it's awesome to have that stuff, but there's also stuff you could be doing to
not needed as well, right?
Yeah, prevent these stuff. But
when it comes to injuries and all that stuff in the sports realm that you're part of, do you see like a big improvements for the last few years, or it's just like always catching up? Is always
I've learned a lot about imbalances in the body, and where my strengths and weaknesses are and what I'm neglecting, and I'm battling a few injuries constantly these days and sort of get on top of it, and then I take it for granted, or I stop doing all my prehab or rehab work on it, and then boom, I'll get that injury again. I'm like, fuck, it's your own fault, because like it's just because I'm 37 now and I'm very active and I do lots of stuff that you've just got to regularly maintain things. Like I went and saw the physio down here yesterday on just a calf niggle that seems to be reoccurring, and she was awesome, mate. Like I've seen a few physios, but like she noticed that one's a centimetre smaller than the other, and it's like, okay, well now I know that I need to work on that, so to try and then also I'm carrying a little bit of extra weight at the moment, so, and I'm trying to get fit for touch rugby, and being a bit lighter helps with that and running, but I'm also trying not to lose too much size when doing the cardio, so it's a bit of give and take type thing, so you've got to find a happy medium, because I like to be strong for lifting purposes, but then also you got to be I've been like quite big at one point, and I got to the point where it's like, I much prefer to be fit and healthy than just big and strong, like it's a lot more practical. Like my job's quite physical, and like I embrace it now, like back when I was early 20s and stuff, and I'm doing my job think really hard, I'd sort of like roll my eyes at me like, oh fucking, can someone else do that? Whereas now I'm like, give me the hard stuff, I want the hard stuff, because it's
stimulating.
It is, and I like to push, so, and I like, when I'm training, I like to go to a dark place.
Well, it's better than going crazy and doing stupid things.
Well,
you get that.
Nothing good ever came from something that was easy, The hard times, make you grow as a person. So, I guess that's something that I am addicted to at the moment, is going to a dark place. It's like some underwater hockey is, you know, holding your breath when you're one thing I notice now compared to back then, earlier, like my early 20s, it didn't matter how tired or out of breath you were, I could still always go the length underwater. Whereas now, if I'm fucked, I'm like looking for someone to pass to. But, you know, I still really like pushing, and like I love the training side of things. And another stoic quote is treat the body more rigorously so that not be disobedient to the mind. So the harder you train and whatnot, it really prepares you for things outside of training, you know. And that doesn't just necessarily mean with like physical activity and stuff. It's like prepares you for anything, death, whatever comes your way, you know. Everything is a blessing. There's always a silver lining, eh? Like there's always something you can be grateful for or positive. Like even with Dad's thing, you know, like we suffer a lot unnecessarily. Like it's all doom and gloom, you know. But I'm like, I'm going to wait till I get all the information. And sure, like when, you know, worst comes to worst, sure, I'll be upset and I'll be sad. But until then, I mean, sure, I still cried like about, you know, hearing that news and like it was I didn't do it in front of it. It was more when I was traveling to the Coromandel and stuff, and I'd hear some music and stuff. But I wanted to, you know, I wanted to do that, and it was like, it was just part of the process, I guess. But you know, like when I get here, I'm focusing on what I can do and how I can help and that kind of stuff, you know. So it's just,
I think it's accepting that, you know, life will be an emotional roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Yes. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah. There's a really good sports doco called Survive in Advance. It's about an Italian basketball coach who got cancer and ended up dying. But like, fuck, he says, you know, like if you laugh in a day, you cry in a day, you feel all these different emotions. That's a fucking awesome day, you know.
Yes.
To feel all these different things. But yeah, it's another.
Speaking of being grateful, I'm very grateful that you guys came to do this with us. Big wow. Like what a day. This is show 140.
Is it really?
Yeah. And the last one before our last one of the year. So like I'm very thankful for you guys for accepting and coming for a chat and being open about life, because that's the thing. As you know, I always ask our guests, you know, if there are things that we should avoid, and you know, you guys like open books, you know, like ready to speak your truth, and that's inspiring. That's why we're doing this for, you know, like to get real stories out there. So thank you.
Yeah, that was a good opportunity. Thanks.
Yeah, we're grateful for being asked on here. Yeah, even though I mean, you mentioned a while ago it was going to be like a Father's Day thing because you wanted that thing, but then I bumped into the other day and told you what was going on, and you know, I thought even, you know, like it would have been really cool, even you know, like even if it was you didn't have that much time left, you know, something like this is a cool experience that we can look back on, and it'll always be there. It was going to be like a really good memory or experience for me. Yeah, you know, like it's something that you could always. It's always going to be there, isn't it?
See, we did together.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm glad you guys did it together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's cool.
And I'll bring you guys back sitting on this side to co-host some shows with me. Great talkers. That's the main thing for a podcast. You got to get the people who can talk. So I appreciate both of you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.
We will be back on Friday for our last show of the year. Special one, eh? The 30th of December. Ooh, what a roller coaster. It's been fun. Make sure to check out the magazine, Coromandel.nz. Have some fun. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks, Taylor.
Thanks, Taylor.
Shot, Taylor.
I'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.